of 2023. Well, it's in the books at last, but the result looks a rather familiar one, at least at the top of the grid or at least on the front row. That is because Max Verstappen, the defending world champion, the two-time world champion, having clinched both of the titles in 2021 and 2022, well, he's taken pole position in Bahrain and he's followed by teammate Sergio Perez at the second position. So it's a Red Bull 1-2 lock out the front grid at the first race of the season. However, it is an interest. It might seem like it's a case of Red Bull domination, and truth be told, no one was expecting them to slip up that quickly after the kind of dominance that they had in the 2022 season. But there are four teams in contention for the top three spots, and you have four different teams, which is a rarity. I don't remember the last time that you have in fact had an instance or a time where you've had four different teams up in the fight for potentially the race win, really, because if you look at it, all four of these cars were at one point in the fight for pole position, or at least trying to get somewhere in the top three. Well, it was the Red Bulls who ended up locking out the front row. But if you look at the kind of gaps that exist, a lot of these teams, again, Ferrari for sure, who were, of course, in the fight last year, won't be too disappointed with how things have gone. Considering that, Charles Leclerc, who will be the man expected to spearhead any title run they have, is qualifying less than about 300ths of a second away from where it is that, the Red Bulls are. He's only 200 off, 2.92 seconds off Max Verstappen. Could very well give him a run for his money in the race. And Carlos Sainz, 4.46 or plus 0.46 seconds shorter than, or rather slower in terms of that time. And as Kunal K rightly points out, Leclerc, yes, you can say it's bad luck, but that last lap, unfortunately, he was unable to kind of get that interesting impact that you're supposed to be getting. The big talking point, however, and if you guys had watched my preview of the race weekend, which I had done on Thursday, I did mention that Alonso and Aston Martin could very well be the spoil sport team this year. It has proved that way because Fernando Alonso is in the top 5 now. Again, that was something no one was expecting to be saying ahead of this year, but it has happened, and he's in fact ahead of both the Mercedes cars. George Russell in P6, Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion, starting at P7. So, it does seem like the Mercedes, at least in the final session, lost a little bit of pace, because right up in the second session, qualifying 2, they did look like they were very much in the fight. But P6, P7 might not be a bad starting point, because if last year's car characteristics for Mercedes are anything to go by, they were much better in terms of race pace and race craft. Maybe they can make that time up in that in the time period wherein, of course, you will be in the race, which is of course longer runs than qualifying. Even last year's car wasn't great as far as single lap pace was concerned. That has carried forward this year, but if they can make it up in the race, maybe, just maybe, they'll be able to actually salvage something. At number 8, Lance Stroll, who's of course driving the other Aston Martin. 9th, Esteban Ocon, and 10th, Nico Hulkenberg. Now, we've talked about the top 10, but the teams would definitely be disappointed with how things went. Alfa Romeo for sure started the season off as seen as a dark horse contender in the midfield. Unfortunately, Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu are 12th and 13th respectively. McLaren, who many were expecting to be the strugglers, well, they've struggled. Lando Norris in P11, Oscar Piastri in 18th. Another team that has probably not done as well as they would have liked, of course, Alpine, despite the fact that Esteban Ocon was P9. Pierre Gasly in his first race, P20. So, not a good time at all. And of course, the best of the rest, you can say, you've had Kevin Magnussen of the Haas in 17, and the two teams who look to be be set to be battling it out for the wooden spoon, look to be, say, AlphaTauri and Williams. Although I will say this, that the Williams looked a lot better than the AlphaTauri, especially in the hands of, ironically, former AlphaTauri driver Alex Albon. So that's the summation for you guys on how it is that quali is gone. The race, well, I'm expecting a banger of a race tomorrow in Sakhir, and I'll be with you guys, of course, to talk about the race as and when it ends. We can talk Formula 1, and of course, the new season's here. We're all excited for it. I definitely am. I don't know about you guys, but let's see. Tomorrow the race should be really good. Fingers crossed we see some exciting wheel-to-wheel action. Thank you guys so much though for joining me on this particular live stream on Sports Today. Again, if you enjoy our work, please don't forget, like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that notifications bell, leave us a comment. Also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and don't forget to download the AajTak app as well. Thank you all once again for joining us. If you're already on the channel, please don't forget to check out some other videos that we may have done. For now, though, from my side, good night and goodbye.